I had a microphone. Hey, hi. Here we go on this hot Monday evening in the city. Chip with you. Glad to be here. And I hope that you are out there and you're doing well in the process. Well, we all were wondering when summer would rear its ugly head, and it has finally done so, ladies and gentlemen. We are smack dab in the middle of a serious heat wave that is not only hit us, but pretty much most of the country. Today, it was 92 degrees. At one point, the heat index was about 102, give or take. We are going to see those temperatures increase as this week goes on. And starting tomorrow, maybe 94, 95, 96, upper 90s by the time we get to Thursday. And the heat indices at any point in time could be anywhere from 105 to 115, depending on just how hot it gets. So obviously, the hot weather rules apply, and that means to take it easy. If you don't need to be out in the extended heat, please don't do that. Stay inside, stay cool, and stay quiet. Drink plenty of fluids. I'm speaking of water. And, of course, I'm speaking of those drinks that replenish the electrolytes that you lose when you sweat. I'm talking about Pedialyte, Gatorade, things like that put that back in your body. And, again, really, the most important part of all of this is to stay as cool as you can for as long as you can. The cooling centers in the city are open for those of you who need a cool place to sit and stay for a while. Please check on your elderly. Please check on the seniors out there, your folks, and make sure that they're doing okay, because the body processes heat differently from younger folks to older folks. So make sure that the elderly, they're comfortable, they have plenty of fluids, and that they're doing okay. And I would save some of that for yourself. All right, that's the public service part of the broadcast. But welcome to the Monday edition as we wrap up another month. When we see you again, we will be in July, talking about time flying. Yes, it does. We have a great show for you this evening. Sit back, relax. It's too hot to be hanging around outside, so stay inside where it's cool and comfortable, and turn us up if it's the radio or your phone or whatever social media device or whatever device you use to get us. Please do so. But first and foremost, how do you get us? Right now we're live, 91.7 on your FM dial. That will be WYXR. You can catch us there right now. You can also find us on the WYXR app if you're out and about. We are also on the TuneIn app. You can find us there as well. We are live streaming the show this evening, so we are on Facebook Live. So you can watch the show. If you listen to the show, you can do both. But we are live streaming this evening. When the show posts in the next day or two, you can find us on YouTube. And we have a new YouTube page. It's Real Talk Memphis. Go to YouTube, and you'll see a nice little slick little graphic there. It just says Real Talk Memphis, a picture of me. And you can find the show there as well. And, of course, we are a podcast, so you can find us wherever it is you get your podcast. So thank you very much, and we hope that you take advantage of all of that as well. As far as the guests are concerned, yeah, it's going to be a good show tonight, I feel. My first guest in just a few minutes is Van Turner. Now, Van, many of you know, is an attorney. I don't know how many of you knew that he was involved in the case of the death of 1-year-old Cohen Wiley in Senatobia at the Walmart store about 2 weeks ago. Ben Crump's law firm is handling that case. An attorney, Van Turner, is part of that team. So he's going to come on exclusive interview in just a couple of minutes and talk about this case, which has galvanized not only the Mid-South, but the country as well. When you have to question and wonder why it is in the world that a 1-year-old baby gets shot by law enforcement, all stemming from a shoplifting call, if that was even the case. We don't have a lot of details on this yet, but we will talk to Van about it in just a couple of minutes, and we will hear from him, his take on all of this, and if anything, what they have found is they started this investigation. It is a horrible situation on any level, and they laid 1-year-old Cohen to rest on Saturday down in Senatobia. A highly emotional, highly charged situation. We'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. A little bit later on, the appointed Memphis and Shelby County Schools Oversight Board takes its seat permanently or finally, whichever way you want to go with it, on July 1st, which is day after tomorrow. So on Wednesday, they will be seated, and their duties will begin to find out what is missing inside our schools, what needs to be done to improve things, and all of that. That happens on Wednesday. In the meantime, I have a guest this evening who is an educational advocate. A lot of you know who she is. She is the executive director of Memphis Lift. Her name is Sarah Carpenter. And if you know Sarah, she doesn't mince words on any level, on anything. She told me, Chip, you know what? I'm going to tell it like it is kind of person, and I'm going to do just that on Monday night. So I'm looking forward to talking with her at the bottom of this hour. And a little bit later on in the second half hour, we spend a lot of time talking about our youth. And some of the choices that they make in critical times during their lives. And a lot of times these young people need direction, and they need focus, and they need encouragement. Well, I'm going to be speaking with a couple of folks who have an organization that does just that. They are pastors, co-pastors, Aaron and Lakisha, his wife, Litzsey, pastors of the Word Church. And they're also the founders and executive directors of an organization called Urban Promise 901. And they will be on the show as well. So, yeah, we have a good show lined up this evening. We hope that you can take some time, spend some time with us, and pay attention to what we discover, conversationally speaking. Now, as we always do on this show, we honor folks who are celebrating a birthday. There's a lot of folks celebrating birthdays in June. Today is no exception to that rule, but what we like to do is shout you out. We like to celebrate you as you celebrate yourself. But I can't do that until I say, hit it, Brent. Happy birthday to several folks today. Kathy Sykes, happy birthday to you. My very good friend in Jackson, Mississippi, celebrating his birthday today. Larry Perry, happy birthday to you, my friend. I'll be hitting you up after the show this evening. Tania Renee Turnage, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Deborah Shaw House, Jackie Paris, Shirley Curtis, and I said what Deborah Shaw, I already said Deborah Shaw House, and Marcus Powers. Happy birthday, folk out there today. I hope that it has been a day of love and laughter and celebration, and you had a little cake and ice cream and all that good stuff that goes along with it. From all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, we wish you the happiest of birthdays, and we hope that we can join you next year for your next trip around the sun. Happy birthday, everybody. All right, let's take a look at some news and notes, shall we? Well, first and foremost, as I mentioned at the top, 1-year-old Cohen Wiley was laid to rest Saturday in Senatobia. He was the 1-year-old that was shot after police shot at a vehicle in the parking lot of Walmart there. This is all apparently stemmed from a shoplifting charge. Now, how a simple shoplifting charge turns into a shooting episode with law enforcement at a vehicle, and a 1-year-old baby gets shot and killed. That is going to continue to be the question. It's extraordinarily a tragic situation. We haven't heard a lot of details into the investigation into what happened at that particular point in time. As I mentioned, in just a couple of minutes, I'll be speaking with Van Turner, who is working with the Crump law firm that is handling this tragic case. A Dyersburg teen, 16, has been charged with first-degree murder after a 15-year-old female was shot and killed yesterday in Dyersburg. Apparently, they went from hanging out and just talking and jawing, and you know how kids do. They get together and just hang out, and next thing you know, something was said that somebody didn't like. gun was pulled, and this poor 15-year-old child was shot in the head and killed at the scene. And again, a 16-year-old has not been identified, but he is charged with first-degree murder in that case. So we talked a little bit. Well, let me say this first. For those of you who have court business, had court business today at 201 Poplar, and you went down there and they turned you away and they told you, nope, not today. We're closed today. And you weren't expecting that. Why? They had a water leak down there, and there's water everywhere, all over the floor, all over the ground, all over the floors, everywhere, out in offices, the whole 9 yards. Now, I will say this, from what I read, 201, the jail part was not affected in terms of this, according to the sheriff's office. But that building right now is closed, and it was closed by the Shelby County Health Department, who says nobody's going in unless things get cleaned up down there. So we will keep you posted when we find out when it reopens again. So you might want to, if you have a case tomorrow, you might want to check ahead if you can find somebody to see if what the status is of that building. We talked about the heat advisory that is in effect for Memphis and Shelby County. They'll probably increase that to a heat warning in the next couple of days because heat indices will be well over 100 degrees. And please, ma'am, please, sir, take the necessary precautions in terms of your health. And I want to offer a prayer to the folks in Venezuela. About a week or so ago, they had not one but two major earthquakes back to back. One was 7.2, the other was 7.5. As of right now, there's like 1,700 plus people who are dead. There are several thousand people who are injured in all of this. We continue to pray for the citizens of that country as they begin a very slow and painful process in terms of a recovery. And in case you did not hear, the Memphis Grizzlies are minus one player. You might have heard of him. He's called Ja. Remember, his name is Ja Morant. He was traded this afternoon to the Portland Trail Blazers. So all of this effort in trading Ja and having this conversation about when has been answered today. It's been about a year. So, I know a lot of you are probably upset about that because you're a big Ja fan, but let us pray for him and hope that he has as much success as he can in his new destination in Portland, Oregon with the Portland Trail Blazers. That is a look at news and notes. I'm going to take a break and prepare for our first guest.
Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you. And, we talked about this at the top of the show. This particular case has galvanized not only a community, but really the entire country. Many of you are aware of the tragic shooting event of Cohen Wiley, 1 year old, in Senatobia. About 2 weeks ago, and it all stemmed apparently from a shoplifting charge. We don't know much about all of this, but someone who does and who is representing the family is joining me now for an exclusive interview. Please welcome to the show Van Turner, and many of all of you know who Van is. And Van, first of all, thank you for taking the time to come on the show tonight to talk about all this. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here with you. It's a tragic event as to why I'm back here with you again. I've been on your show before, and we've had much happier circumstances in the past, but this was quite unfortunate with the death of this young 1 year old child. So I'm happy to be here with you to talk a little bit about it.
Well, thank you. And of course, little Cohen was laid to rest Saturday in Senatobia. I saw you, and you spoke at the funeral service. Ben Crump's law firm, of which you're a partner, part of this, is overseeing the case. And I did see the press conference that you all had about a week or so ago in all of this. Van, there really aren't many words to describe any of this, and no one can make sense of the why of all of this. As you all start to look at this and start to dig in a little bit in terms of the investigation, I mean, from your perspective, and you've been a legal authority for a long time. Cases like this don't often come along, but they have to be very jarring to even someone like you, who is a legal professional. Am I right about that?
Oh yeah, I mean it's just heart wrenching to see the events of this case. This was such a young, precious soul who had nothing to do with any of what occurred, and yet he's lost his life. The officer is still here. Everyone is still here to enjoy their lives, but this 1 year old, at such a precious and young age, is gone back to his maker. So when you really sit there and think about it, and this was all over some diapers,
Mm.
and it's senseless. And so Attorney Crumpler is likely coming back in this week, and we're going to share some more information with the public. Obviously, there's a shot that came through the front, and then there were shots that came through the side of that vehicle.
Hmm.
And so for this officer to sit there and say that he was in danger of his life, it's just crazy, because you can't explain the shots to the side of the vehicle, which makes no sense. So hopefully we're going to really share some important information. We're going to get down into the facts of this case, and we're going to continue to demand that Walmart and the San Antonio police release the video.
I was going to ask you about that. We have not seen any of the video as of yet. There has not been a formal identification of said officer who fired the fatal shot or shots into the vehicle yet. It seems to be taking a little bit of time in all of this, and from my perspective, and I'm just a common guy, but my thought process on all of this is, if you are part of the government of Senatobia, the leadership of Senatobia, and the fire, I mean, and the police department, wouldn't it be prudent to put all of this out? Because every day that goes by, people are still hurting, and people are getting angrier and angrier about situations like this, because we just continue to see this nationwide, but this is so close to us, but we don't feel as if there's any movement on behalf of the governmental entity itself in Senatobia. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I mean, the mayor refuses to answer any questions when he was asked at a recent meeting. And so it's just, I think, a miscarriage of your service as an elected official, when you can't discuss simple information related to a case of this magnitude. We need more than just, we don't want to discuss this right now. We need more than just, we're going to wait 6 to 9 months for the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation to conclude its investigation before we release anything. We've been involved with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation before, and it does not take this long to conduct whatever investigation it has to conduct. In fact, they've already reviewed the footage and they've come up with their own conclusions. So it's past time now to release the video footage to the public. And if you look at cases like Tyree Nichols, they were able to release that video footage and conduct whatever analysis or investigation they needed to conduct, and still operate in a transparent manner. Now, the mayor of Senatobia has said that they're gonna be transparent. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation has indicated that they're gonna be transparent. And so that's what we're demanding. We're demanding transparency. We're demanding a release of the footage. And it is just incredibly, it's just an incredible thing for them to just sit on their hands and not release this footage. It's gone on too long. The community is demanding transparency, as we all should.
When we think of situations like that, you mentioned Tyree Nichols, and there have been plenty of others in this country. These type of things continue to happen. And based on what you just said, in preliminary conversations with the leadership in Senatobia and Police Department and the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, it would just seem to be from a decency perspective to get to the heart of the matter here. And when I hear you talk about the hesitancy in doing that, that tells me, that's a message to me that they're not so anxious to bring all of this out, even though eventually we will get to see it. But this just continues this stain, and I had people tell me, you know what, Chip, Mississippi. Another case of malfeasance in Mississippi in terms of this. Is there ever, do you ever think with all the cases that come up and all the things that happen so frequently that we will ever get to a place where we can investigate situations as tragic as this one without having to wait and wait and wait? Because what that does is create more of an anger and anxiousness in people who desperately want to know what happened here and how it happened when a whole law enforcement branch shows up at a Walmart over a quote unquote shoplifting charge. I mean, that to me is almost unheard of.
It's unheard of. And I would hope, Chip, that we do get to that point. After the incident with George Floyd and again, Tyre Nichols, we had this push to have the 8 Can't Wait. And I just so happened to look at those points from the 8 Can't Wait the other day. And one of those 8 points is not shooting into a moving vehicle. That's one of the 8 points. And this is an argument from 2020, right? I mean, we're 6 years down the road, and the individuals who knew what they were talking about back then said one of these 8 prongs of the 8 Can't Wait is not shooting into a moving vehicle because of a result that we're seeing here. You don't know what you're shooting at. There is an incredible possibility that someone who's innocent would get harmed. You don't get more innocent than a 1-year-old child. And this is why we were asking law enforcement agencies throughout the country to implement the 8 Can't Wait. So to your point, hopefully later on, we won't have to endure these kinds of investigations where we're stonewalled. There is no transparency, although they say they're going to be transparent. And we're waiting all these days and weeks and months before simple video footage should be released. And so we are hopeful that Senatobia would right the ship, adopt the 8 Can't Wait policies going forward, and immediately release the body cam footage of all the officers who were involved in that tragic incident on that day.
One final question for you. Has the police department or the city offered up the officer in question that fired the fatal shot that killed little Cohen? I mean, do we know who it is, and why are we still waiting to find that particular element of all of this out?
Well, obviously, there's unofficial information who this gentleman is. He's a Caucasian male, and apparently from other accounts, he had been released from another law enforcement agency before he came to Senatobia. So we can't confirm any of this information now, but we're working on it. And these are individuals involved in law enforcement that worked with this particular officer that have indicated this is accurate. So we just have to, before we run the danger of any type of defamation or some type of false light claim or invasion of privacy claim, we're going to follow the protocols on that. But when officers who have worked with this particular officer have come forward and said these kinds of things, we pretty much know who this officer is, what his past history is, and we're just waiting for it to be confirmed. But yes, I mean, unofficially, he's been identified. And again, I don't want to risk any type of defamation or false light.
Right.
But apparently it's a Caucasian male who was at another law enforcement agency in Mississippi and was apparently released from that agency for inappropriate behavior. And he landed at Senatobia. And this is the result that we see. Another prong of the 8 Can't Wait is stopping these kinds of situations where these officers are just moved around. They mess up one place and they're moved around somewhere else, and they're still allowed to do things like what was done here. And especially if you were dismissed for excessive conduct, excessive force conduct. So you're on notice at that point that this officer should not be in a situation where he's allowed to do something and there's a past history of excessive conduct. So all that will hopefully come out soon and we'll know the truth. We just ask that everyone keep their prayers going for the Wiley family, and we're going to fight like hell to get them the justice they deserve.
Well, listen, we'll be watching and we'll be waiting for you all in terms of any additional information on all of this. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. Van Turner, ladies and gentlemen, one of the folks that representing the Cohen family, the Wiley family in this very tragic incident. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you, and the beat rolls on. We're going to shift gears now and talk a little bit about education and the new oversight management board that has been appointed by the state of Tennessee. I'm happy to have on with me Sarah Carpenter. Sarah is an education advocate, and she is one not to hold her tongue when she feels that things needed to be changed in reference to the school district. And I think she joins me now. Sarah, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, good to see you, my friend. Wonderful to see you this evening. So here we are, Sarah. You were front and center back when Dr. Fagan's situation came and she was ended up being removed as superintendent of education. You were very you had a lot to say in reference to all of that. Most of that the community wasn't even listened to by the board. Now we fast forward. The state has appointed 9 individuals to be an oversight board to the existing elected board.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts, please?
My thoughts is that it's time for us all to work together now, Chip. It's time for us all to work together. And I'm serious about that because our kids are the ones suffering every day.
So do you feel like this was a good move or needed move, a necessary move, or what?
I do. I really do. I do think it was a necessary move because I just feel like elected officials should listen to the people that sent them there.
What is the biggest problem that you see, Sarah, in terms of the existing school board members, the elected school board members? What are some of the issues that you see brought us to this place and are some of the biggest problems?
I think most of our transparency, letting the community know everything that's going on and building trust back. They got to build a lot of trust back in the community.
So from your perspective, and I've heard you say that before, you don't know who to believe or what to believe or anything else. And a lot of people, and I'll just ask you, because you have a great pulse in the community and for the community, and you know what's going on out there. What do you say, generally speaking, while this board is supposed to be seated on Wednesday, the 1st of July, that most people are taking a wait and see attitude? People that you talk to, are they for this? Do they think that this is something that we need to give a chance to? What are your thoughts there?
To be honest with you, Chip, and a lot of parents think this is a needed move, and I have talked to people that don't want it to happen. I watch social media. I know people that don't want it to happen, but I know a lot of parents, and that's who we deal with, want it to happen.
So in terms of Memphis Lift, and what is the for you? This is your organization. What is the basis of the organization? What do people who don't know about what you do? What do they need to know about? Because, like I said before, you are not afraid to offer your thoughts and opinions on anything that is happening, especially as we're talking about young folks in this educational component that we're in right now.
Yeah. We are a parent advocate organization. We for parents by parents. We are the same parents that we serve. And we educate parents on the landscape of education. We want them to know everything that we know. And it was a time where We didn't know, what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's our job to educate the community and the parents. Not just parents, it's people that's not parents that care about education. We talk to them every day.
We recently got test scores back from the TCAP, and I guess there was a little encouraging news in terms of the fact that some of the reading performances of the third grade students has improved a bit. But of course, there's much work to go because we also heard that the math scores weren't very effective in all of this. In terms of the makeup of this oversight board, Sarah, do you, in terms of the names and some of the individuals who are involved in all of this, do you feel good about some of the individuals that were selected to this board?
I feel good about everybody selected on that board, everyone.
Well, that's interesting. Dorsey Hobson is the one superintendent. He's the one former superintendent who is a part of this, and of course, Billy Orgel is the chairman of it, and he used to be on the school board back in the day.
He did. He did.
So
I'm pleased with everybody on that managing board.
Well, that's a good thing. So now as we move forward, and they've been given 4 years, I believe. They've been given 4 years to try to figure this thing out and try to see exactly what happens next in all of this. What do you think the process looks like? What would you like to see the process look like? Because one of the things I've heard, and I've talked to a couple of these new board members, they said that community input is vital. This is going to be a huge undertaking for these individuals to take on for the next 4 years. How do you want to see the process to go, Sarah?
I want it to be fair. I want everybody working together. I want them to open up for the community. When I say community, Chip, I mean teachers, parents, stakeholders, everybody. Everybody got a part in this. Our kids need this whole city backing them now and encouraging them. I know we got an absentee rate high level in our district, and we can help with that. We can help with that. We want to help. I ain't here to hurt nobody. I'm here to help, and I fight for children. I don't fight for adults, Chip. And I just think it's time for all of us to work together.
What do you think? And now, one of the things that I've heard people say, and I'm not going to hold you, but one of the things I've heard people say was the Achievement School District. You remember very well that the state took over the Achievement School District and ended up giving it back and with nothing done at all.
This to me is totally different.
Okay.
This is totally different. I mean, the Achievement School District had a set of schools in Fraser community, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do look at your data, do a data walk, Chip, most of those kids were behind when the Achievement School District came. We just got to work a little harder.
Yeah,
we can't keep blaming on the state not doing what they're supposed to do with the Achievement School District. Let's take this opportunity and run with it for our babies.
Well, we're at a crossroads now, Sarah, and I know you'll be watching very, very carefully, and I'm sure you'll be in attendance in a lot of these meetings at the public meetings because the board members are saying we need input from the community. Now, we heard that from the elected the board, and we saw how that turned out. So do you think that this will be better? Do you think that the commitment will absolutely be there this time?
Chip, nothing is going to move forward in this city, period, without the community. We are the people closest to I ain't gonna even say closest to the problem. We the people closest to the solution. We closest to the problem, but we also closest to the solution.
And we all need to buy in. All of us.
We all need to buy in. Now, our parents ready to buy in. Our parents are ready to buy in. I mean, and again, I don't have nothing against the elected school board. We just got to do something different if we want different results.
Period. Well, listen, I thank you for coming on tonight. Let me take a final break, and when we come back, we're going to shift gears and we're going to talk about how we keep our young people fired up, engaged about doing the positive things in life. My next guest will tell us. This is Real Talk Memphis. Don't you dare go away. And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you. And, I like to talk a lot about the young folks and the direction that they go and how we keep them steered and focused where they need to be focused. And a lot of organizations and groups are taking on this challenge. And this one particular organization I am really excited about having on because they understand how important it is for our young folks to be pushed and steered in the right direction. But more importantly, they say it takes the family to be able to do this. And I'm so happy to have on the show tonight co-pastors of the Word Church here in town, Aaron and Lakisha Litzsey. And I am so glad to see you. They're also, by the way, the founders and the organizers of an organization called Urban Promise 901. And look at them. They're on screen right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see you all. Litzsey's, how are you tonight?
Well, good to see you as well, Chip.
Listen, thanks for coming on the show. And, we see, and I'm always attracted to organizations who understand that it takes more than conversation to change the course of direction for a lot of folks out here, especially our young people. And you created an organization called Urban Promise 901 that to me is a little unique. I mean, obviously it's a youth organization, but there has to be a family buy-in. You all just had a big event not too long ago with fathers and emphasizing fatherhood. Talk about how it is so important, regardless of situation and circumstances of grown people, that we unite to get our children in the place that they need to be?
Well, it all began, Chip, because we really believe that Memphis can become known for not just for great music, not just for great food, which we all have all of that, but for raising great young people. And that's what we're working towards every single day. And we tell people that's a big part of what brought together this vision. And people in our community that sometimes have become hopeless and sometimes really feeling like, man, Memphis is going to hell in a handbasket. These are the change agents. Every person in every community can be a change agent to transform our city. You don't have to be a preacher to change Memphis. You can mentor, you can tutor, you can donate, you can pray, you can, glory to God, sponsor a student. There are so many ways that people can participate, but sitting back on the sidelines and waiting for change to happen, it'll never happen. We as a community have to step up, work together, link up together, and put away all of the things that sometimes keep us separated and come together, because it is fatherhood is the linchpin that will present fathers will eradicate poverty in our cities because of that historical piece in our communities where fathers have typically been absent a lot of times, and sometimes because of government intervention and because of people need the welfare and to push the fathers out of the home, and it's caused a rift, a disparity in our finances. And we know where there's poverty, crime increases. So if we want to decrease crime, we need to push our brothers to learn how to be fathers, present, responsible, emotionally present, physically present, but also making sure that they are producing the healthy next generation that we need to present here in Memphis to make our city great.
Absolutely that. Lakisha, you all work with young people, I believe, from the ages of 12 to 17. Am I correct in that? Why
Yes.
if that's the case, why that age range? I mean, I obviously I haven't thought about why, but that particular age range from 12 to 17, and I know kids start to feel themselves a little bit when they get to be about a teenager and all that kind of stuff. But why was that so important in terms of the dynamics of the program?
So for us, we understand that if we can impact these children when they're at a younger age, we can have more insight on how to help them develop. I will say, of course, you are correct. When they when they start to get at that age, they start to be a little bit different. But of course, they're also at an age where they can understand. We realize as well that our young people need direction. They
Yeah.
need, organizations and people they can trust. And that's a big thing that we've seen just over the years of us
Trust.
working with
Yeah.
with young people, that if they can't trust you, they're not going to have anything to do with you. And so you have to be in a non-judgment zone. You have to also be able to build that relationship with them, and also try to get to the root cause of, what they really need. How can we really support them? And then even though they're a part of our program, we even impact their family.
Yeah.
What is it? What type of family dynamic they have? What resources can we assist them with? So, again, starting from that age, at the age of 12, that really has been successful for us, because the whole goal is for them to start at a young age and grow with us up until they're 17. And so we found that to be extremely impactful for us.
One of the things that I heard you talk about is listening. You have to meet these young people where they are.
Yes,
They're
you do.
smart, and they're smart enough to understand that. You also
Hmm.
talked about building that trust that goes
Hmm.
along with that. But that listening component is extraordinarily important, is it not?
Yeah, yes, it's very important. And, like you said, just to reiterate what you said, meeting them where they are. And that comes with, too, spending time with them. Even if they don't communicate it right, even if they don't say what we think that they should say, if they know that they have somebody listening to them, that opens up a door for us to lead them in a different direction. And, it creates a safe space for them.
Mm. That's very, very important. I mentioned at the top, Aaron, that you all had a huge fatherhood initiative event, which means, as far as I'm concerned, you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk. That's extraordinarily important, is it? No matter, regardless of any type of personal situation grown folks may have, but a father in a child's life is critical. Yes.
Right, right, absolutely. Every bad thing goes up statistically. A crime goes up, incarceration rates go up when fathers are not present. Every good thing goes up when fathers are present. Graduation rates go up. Economic rates for families goes up when fathers are present. So we see the converse there. And so what we have to do with fathers who are already fathers, work with them and develop strategies, tips. All the fathers have different situations. Some of them have situations where they're no longer with the mother of their child for whatever reason, and having to kind of work through the dynamics of that. And so we work with them on developing skills and training to be responsible and not give up. Because I had some fathers say, I just quit. I just want to just quit. But you can't afford to quit, because this child needs you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And it's worth fighting for. It's worth fighting for because what you bring to the table as a present, authentic, earnest, and sincere father is what's going to be the catalyst for your child becoming the person of purpose that they need to be. We don't need any more young people growing up feeling like no one cares about them, feeling like, why my daddy leave me, when really you were over there the whole time, but just felt like, whatever anxiety you had with the child's mom. We need every father, even for these young guys who are coming up, to understand what responsibility looks like, accountability looks like. We had one young man with a child, he's about 16 years old. That's real. Everything working when you get past puberty and things can happen.
Yeah.
But working with him to understand his role and responsibility, even though it's difficult to imagine that at that age and stage, but you have to begin that process. And so that's why we work with kids that young, to make them understand. And it doesn't just impact the sons, it impacts the daughters too. Self-esteem,
Mhm.
all those types of things. Why my daddy, what's going on, where he at, all those types of things,
Yeah.
emotionally and psychologically. So it's critical.
Everything is connected, and listen, I I praise you for what you're doing and the commitment that you're doing. As I said, that you are both co-pastors of the Word Church here in Memphis, and there's obviously a strong religious component as pertains to your program. And before I let you go, I just want the missus, if you would, to just talk of just give me like about a minute, if you can, as to why all of this is connected. God is connected to this program. It's connected to the young folks. It's connected to the families, the whole 9 yards.
I would say that what we do, we believe is a calling, that God has given us.
Yeah.
And we also realize everybody is not called to do what we do. And we have made a commitment, number one, to the Lord to do what He's called us to do in this earth. And we found out really quickly that God has given us the resources, He's given us the provision, He's given us the knowledge, He's given us, even individuals to partner with us and work with us in order to transform the mindset of these young people. And again, it's fulfilling the purpose that we have, and we have to be obedient to the calling of God on our lives. And so it's very important. We never thought that we were going to go in this direction, but we realized quickly that God has really given us this calling to do it. And it's been impactful, it's been effective. And I always share with people that, you will know individuals about the fruit that they bear.
Yes.
And we see the fruit. We see the fruit. We see how God has used us to impact the lives of other individuals. And then, of course, young people, but also their families. It just opens up additional doors,
Yeah.
for us to be able to, teach people about the love of Jesus Christ.
Listen, I have. I'm really impressed with both of you, and I thank God
you.
for the program, and thank God for you. Urban Promise 901 is the name of the program. You should go on site and look it up. And if you want to be a part of what they're doing to change lives, reach out to them and contact them. This has been a great interview. Aaron and Lakisha Litzsey, co-pastors of the Word Church, and of course, the executive directors and founders of Urban Promise 901. It is great to see you all. Thanks for coming on the
Good
show
to see
tonight.
you as well.
I really appreciate it. God bless you all. Thank you
Bless
so much.
you.
Yes, sir. It's been a great show. Great show. Good guests, good information. I hope you felt that way as well. But in the meantime, thank you for being a part of what we do each and every week. Thanks to my guests as always. And if you like what we do, go out and tell somebody, for God's sake. Listen, be careful in this heat. It's tough. And be safe, be careful. And for all of us here, for Lulu, for Bryn, who's coming up in just a minute with Event Horizon, and for me, your humble host, thank you for being a part of what we do. And we look to see you and have you on with us again next week. Until next time, we are out. See ya.